Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, August 24th, and I'm here for my weekly stitching update. I'll be spinning the last of my projects for Arbitrary August today. I will have to film a day late next week, so I decided that would actually work pretty well because I'll go ahead and spin my bonus piece for the 31st now and then start fresh with a new video on the 1st, so that'll work good. So let's jump right into what I've been stitching this week. Let's see. I don't have anything random to show like haul or whatnot, so I'll just jump right into my travel pieces. I worked on my temperature tree yesterday. This is in my shop, and I have a pattern almost ready for release this fall, so maybe sometime in September I'll release that, and when I do that I'll show my finished examples of all of the other patterns that I have in my shop, because somebody was asking about that, so I'll do that maybe in a week or two. And the one I'm releasing this year I think will be less popular, to just put it bluntly. I think it'll be fun, but maybe fewer people will be interested, but I have something in mind for next year that I will release in the fall of next year that I think will be have more broad appeal. But trying to get that charted this year was a little bit too tricky for me, so I went ahead and just waited and held off. I kind of only want to do one a year now because I want to stitch along with them with you guys, and I don't want to have to do two at once. I did that last year and it was a lot of work to keep up with. So here is my temperature tree, and as compared to last time, mine is on 28 count light blue even weave from Hobby Lobby, and it's 1/1, so mine's really tiny. Here's my hand, and a little bit of an angry branch here. Still didn't get up to the hottest color, but I had these three leaves were again the second hottest color. 106 and 107 were those three leaves. It was I think 106 and 2 days of 107, but then the other days were less, and even here I think we got down to 94 on Saturday, so I think it's possibly will be in the triple digits again part of this week, so we're not fully in the clear, but I don't know that I'll ever get to that hottest color this year, and that's okay for living through, but it is fun to be able to stitch it at least once, but I don't know that that's going to happen this year. And then my other one is the Prim Stitch series, part 2. I'm doing this with the Fat Quarter Shop. Supplied me with the patterns and the fabric and the threads, and I'm stitching along. So this, I decided to convert mine to include specialty stitches, just for fun, just to make it a little bit more interesting. And so I'm doing mine on the called for fabric, but 1/1. And this will be it compared to last week, and I am changing some of it to be specialty stitches instead of cross stitches. So you will see I did the basket there in some specialty stitches. So I finished the berries and the bird and started in on this leaf because it was the same color as these stems, and I had a wonderful suggestion from one of the comments from last week's video to do this in a lattice stitch, which I'd never done before, and I may not have done exactly what a real lattice stitch is, but you basically lay your strings full on, like the whole way is just one stitch in a diagonal both directions, and then you come back through with the alternate color and like tack them down. And so that's what I did, and it kind of gives it a similar illusion to what was charted with the little dots. So that's fun. So I'm really thankful for that suggestion. And then the top, I did little, I don't know if you can really see. I'll try to put a picture on Instagram later. But I did some little boxes that were like diagonal satin stitches. And then this is like diagonal satin stitches as well. So I thought that was fun. And so I'm definitely gonna, this week I don't know how far I get, but I'll work on these things. I'll come over here and do this first and then start working down. So these two stars, I may actually do those at the same time because the outside spines on the stars are the same color thread. And the centers are different colors. This is a square center and this is a diamond center. So the stitches will look slightly different, but I'm thinking I will do a similar like road stitch style for both of those. And then these middle ones, I might try to do like a swirly rose type stitch, which may be a rice stitch. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that one up to double check and see the name of the one I'm thinking of. But because I've done a few specialty stitches here and there, but I don't necessarily know the names of all of them. So that's my ideas on that one. It's fun to work on. I spent more time on that than I have in the past yesterday because I wanted to get that basket figured out. And I did use a hoop when I was working on the lattice stitch because they were such long stitches. I didn't want my tension to be weird with such long stitches. And I started to do it in hand, and then I was having trouble counting and figuring out where the second, I had all of these directions in and I needed to do the other ones, and I was having trouble counting along the edges to see where to put them. And so I decided to just kind of use a hoop, and I drew, like I traced out the pattern and like made my plan on paper and then figured it out. And then, so it took a little bit, but it was fun and it worked out. So now we'll go into my Arbitrary August plans for this year, for this week. I am spinning a wheel 4 times every week in 4 different categories of sizes. And I'm broke up my current 62 projects into roughly 4 groups, and 4 groups roughly the same size. They all have about 15, maybe 16 in each category. And so I thought it would be fun to see how my whips fit into the Stitch from Stash categories. So I was able to find out what those categories are and made a little spreadsheet. So I'll put that picture up here, and just to have a laugh. Because it seems like if the categories they have are indicative of typical cross-stitcher size categories, you can see I'm not the typical cross-stitcher, and I know that. Like, I know the majority of the things available for stitchers these days are not really my style. I like things with a lot of detail. I like large projects. That's just kind of how I am, and it's okay. It's fun. I just know that I will never, there's a lot of projects I will never finish, and I don't really care. I think it's fun to just work on them. So I'm definitely a process stitcher, not a progress stitcher. There's a lot of people that their goal is to finish things. Their goal is to see them completed, and like, whether or not they fully finish them. Some people like to see things completed, but they just have a pile of finishes. Other people like to see things completed and have plans for them in their home or for gifts. And me, I just like to stitch. I like challenge myself with new concepts, new stitches, new designers, new colors, new pictures, lots of different things, and new fabrics, new methods of stitching. And I just like I just like it all, and I don't really have, there's certain things that I do like to want to finish, but in general, a lot of my projects are just for fun. And that's okay. Not everybody's like that, but I am. And you will see from what I work on, if you follow me for a while, that I do have a general style that's very girly, but I do work on a variety of things. So some things are not necessarily my style, but I do work on them for other people, or I'm just playing with a new style just to see what it's like, you know. So anyways, that's just kind of how I roll with my stitching. So this week, my small category that got spun was Visit Indoor by Country Magic Stitch. And this is a full coverage that I started during July. It's for my son. And pretty happy with the progress on this one. This is, here it is, 2/1 half stitches on 28 count Dove Gray Monaco. and I like that. I finished, let's see, I finished the string over here of dark green. I added some of the lighter shade of green in there. I added this, I think I added the, yeah, this might have been first. I don't know. This darker shade of blue for the sky. I added like 2 strings of sky blue to make sure I hit the Death Star here. And then I worked on the Death Star. I got all of this color done in the Death Star. There's 3 colors in that. And then I did 1 more string of dark green on this side to try to even it out. So that's really fun. It goes really fast because it's half stitches, and yeah, it's coming along. This is the full width of the design too, so it's a nice small one when you, especially when you do it over one like this. So that's fun to see progress so quickly. And then my medium piece was my spring floral cross. This is an old Jan Lin kit, but you can now find these on the Cooler Design Studio website. You can actually find these a lot of places. No longer as a kit. Mine came with threads and the light blue Ada. It all came with everything. But now I believe you can find them on the Cooler Design Studio website as a PDF, possibly also as a paper pattern. And you can find them on everything cross stitch, probably as paper. I don't know about PDF. You can also find them on 123 Stitch. So they are everywhere, all 4 seasons. So if you like these, they are readily available. Just not as a kit. You have to kit them up yourself. So here is where I got to on this one. And I'll do it farther back for the before and after and then bring it in a little bit. This is on light blue 14 count Ada that was included in the kit. And let's see, I did 2 more strings of the lettering in the backstitch, and then I started working in these top colors. So I got these purple flowers finished except for backstitching, and then started working on some of these stem colors, which some of these colors, like this white, was using up the thread for the middle of these flowers. This is part of a bee that's starting. That was the end of this thread for one of the darker colors there. And so there's other things that I just went and did 1 length of thread on a lot of those and just wherever it ended up. So this top section has a lot of color changes because of those sticks that are up there. So some of these big flowers will be a lot nicer because they're bigger chunks of color. So, but yeah, there's a little bee, butterfly over here, so that's fun. And yeah, these are little flowers. At first I thought they were butterflies, but they're little flowers, and they have those scattered around. So that'll be fun. So this is a spring one. I will be starting the fall one in September on the first day of autumn for the Northern Hemisphere. So the next one I spun that was technically in the large category is In the Beginning. This is an old Dimensions kit, actually, that I got from my roommate's, my first college roommate's aunt. And so this is hard to find. I have seen a few kits on eBay that were somewhat reasonable. So if you look around on there, maybe you'll find some. It's called In the Beginning, and it's by Dimensions. So I haven't found it anywhere else available as a regular chart. So I kind of wish I would have gotten a little bit more time on this, but I needed to get, through all 4 projects. So I knew if I went farther, I'd want to keep going to finish like a whole section, and I didn't want to box myself in and feel like I couldn't finish the next section. And so I just got to a fairly good stopping point and then just decided it was good for now. So here is what it looks like now compared to last time. And bring it in closer, I realized why I had not yet backstitched that bird in the middle is because all of this greenery in here needed to be done first before I could backstitch along the edge here. So I filled in this greenery. I had this green on my needle, so I finished that. And then I filled in this greenery, and in the process put in some of the dark color, you know, along in other places, and then backstitched this, and then really wanted to get the head of the peacock done because it looked weird the way it was. So I started backstitching and gave it an eye, gave it these little like French knot, it's three-dimensional, I don't know if you can see, little French knots there on the top of its head, and came down here. And I have this color still on my needle, but I have more greenery that needs to happen around the edge before I can do more backstitching. So I'll just leave that on my needle until, and park it on the front when I work on this next so it doesn't get in the way. But I need to do more peacock. There's a lot of peacock. Like some of these colors that were up here ended up coming down here. And to start its big tail, it's got a very big tail. And then, so that'll be a project for some time. And then I also have more to do up in the edge and the sun, moon, and stars, which are right here. No, the sun's here, the moon and stars. So the next time I work on this, I will likely try to finish the top and do the moon and stars, because this I'll want to do all in one big chunk, and it comes down so far. It'd be nice to have all this done before I do that. So I do like this. It's very pretty, very colorful. This is 18 count, like antique white Aida that I got at a craft store. Okay. And my final project that I worked on this week was my extra large project. Three Sisters. This is a golden kite. So this is the one I knew I needed to get to give it a little bit of time at least before moving on. So I couldn't spend forever in the beginning. But here is, I'll show you the before and after first. It's just the corner, that's where I worked. So here it is now. And I don't know how obvious it will be. Some of these random little stitches way out here as well, just to finish up some colors. But I got all the parked threads done that were in page 1. So these are all down here on the second row, and I didn't get to any of those yet. Actually, there was one right here that was really short and it was kind of in the way, so I went ahead and did that one. But got all of these done, and so there's new things all throughout here. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. I always wish I could do more, but every little bit counts, right? So this is Three Sisters. This is 18 count white Aida, and I'm really enjoying that. So this is fairly thick because there's so much confetti, and I'll go ahead and show you my back because I do carry a lot when it's like this, when it's confetti, and then just get stitched over later. I run threads under things if I can, and if I can't, I just try to keep it loose and cover it over with stitching later on. So it's pretty chaotic in there, but it looks fine on the back, on the front, so that's all that matters to me. So we're happy that I got a little bit more time on that. So this week, my last week to spin, and like I said, I won't be able to come back and film next Monday. We have some plans. So on Tuesday, I will film on the 1st, and so I went ahead and spun my bonus extra small piece. Not my extra small size-wise, but my extra small category piece for the 31st. I spun that as well. So I will point out, I noticed during my second video when I was editing it that I had not chosen the non-repeating selection feature for the medium, large, and extra large wheels. And so when I was spinning it, I realized there weren't any blacked out wedges, even though I'd spun it the week before. So I went ahead and turned that selection on at that point, so that when I spun last week, that was the first selection that blacked out. So now you will see a blackout on those ones. And I figured if I spun something that I'd already stitched on in August, I'd just spin again, because I wanted to make sure to get through as many different ones as I can, since I have so many. So I didn't end up needing to respin anything, so that's fine. But that's why you see on the small one, there's like 3 or 4, there's 4 blacked out wedges on the small one already, and then on the other ones there's only 1. So that's why. I fixed it, didn't need to use it because everything was spun uniquely every time. But anyways, that's what you're seeing. So the first one in the small category was this. And that's this one. That's Blackwork, Flower, and Butterflies by Leslie Tier. And I bought this on her website as a PDF. I believe I started this for Carrie and Stitch's a birthday sale like 2 years ago, maybe. She likes blackwork. So, and she was stitching a Leslie Tier blackwork lady or an angel or something. So it's fun when the blackwork is in the shape of something. I think that's pretty special. I did a conversion on this. So I am using mostly Victorian motto, possibly all Victorian motto. And my first instance of Petite Treasure Braid is in there, and I would receive that as a gift from Mon Dot Stitches, so thank you again for that. It's fun to work on that because there is a little bit of sparkle on the edge, and I think there's some like back stitching swirls in the butterflies as well that's sparkly, so I haven't gotten to that part yet. So I'm enjoying this. I haven't worked on this since I think the last time I worked on this was maybe last year on our anniversary trip in like August or September. It may have been more recently than that, but I don't know. That's kind of my last remembrance of working on it, so it's possible. So this is also the light blue even weave from Hobby Lobby, and this is where I'm at. And these cross stitches are 2/2. And then the back blackwork, most of it is 1 strand, and then these outside edges are like 3 strands, I think. So these petals are all complete. This one, I believe it might be complete. Let's see. Yeah, well, there might be a little bit more on that one. There might be a little bit more on this one. This one looks like I started backstitching it, but it has a lot more to go. Yeah, so I'm not sure where I'll go with this one. If I'll try to fill in some of the top corners before doing the bottom half of everything, that might be a good idea. There's some butterflies and swirls up there, that could be fun. So yeah, we'll see. You'll be surprised just like me. And I never mention, I hardly ever remember to mention my needle minders, but a lot of these, this is a wooden button that I got at Joann's, and there's some other buttons I have that are smaller circles that are also wooden, and I made them, I turned them into needle minders myself. So I bought some nice Neo something fancy, the rare earth magnets from a magnet vendor online. I can let you know if you're curious. You can also find them on Amazon probably, or Home Depot. But I got them a little bit more bulk. I think I got 100 of them or something for a pretty reasonable price, and made them with E6000 glue. And so I made some of those with like old vintage buttons, and then those buttons I got at Joann's. I have purchased a few, but a lot of them are homemade. So, and needle minders, some people even ask, because I know when I first started watching Flosstube was the first time I heard of needle minders. They just catch your needle. Rather than weaving through the back, the strong magnet holds onto your needle when you're not working on it. And it's nice, especially when you're like in between strings, just to set it there rather than weave it through the fabric. And then some people who use frames like to even put their scissors or patterns on with their needle minder. So that's another thing that you could do with it. medium project right here. That one is Tapestry by Ink Circles. And I'm excited that this one got spun because I've seen a couple people working on this recently and I'm like, oh, I need to get mine out again. So I get to get mine out. And this is another color conversion. Most of these are Victorian mottos by, she had a Elizabeth Cox conversion that it was a hands-on design pattern, I think, that came out a year or two ago, and Nancy from Victorian Motto made a color conversion pack, and I thought, oh, those colors are really pretty. I don't want to stitch Elizabeth Cox sampler, but I could use them for something else. So I bought Tapestry, and most of the Elizabeth Cox, most of the colors called for, I converted to the Elizabeth Cox colors. There's a couple in here that are regular Victorian mottos. At least one, Fisherman's Wharf. This one right here is just a regular Thread of the Month club. And I don't know if any of the other ones are. Oh, Old Salem Spell is in here too, which was a Thread of the Month. So that one's fun. And I am stitching this on some 28 count Ivory Jobelin. I think it's the same type of fabric I'm doing the new start I did recently that was the English Garden Sampler by Teresa Wensler. Is the same fabric. So it's very smooth. Jobelin is not, it's got some, I don't know if it's polyester or rayon or something. It's not pure cotton. So it has a very smooth feel, which is actually kind of nice. So this is 1/1, 28 count with those Victorian motto threads. It's pretty. And I think I will focus on heading up because I do like to work from the top down in general, but I did start in the middle. So I headed up this way last time, I think, so I'll probably maybe try to find the top. That could be fun. I'm not sure how much more I need to go to get to the top. I guess I have a good amount. I could at least try to get this flower done, because that's the next thing heading up. And if I can get any more than that, that would be icing on the cake. So my large project is a fan favorite. So this is what this is. And I know a lot of you have been aching to see this come out again. And I must admit, it's a little bit hard to stitch on when I was working on the beads because it's such a dark fabric that I dyed my own fabric with denim ricked in like a double dye. Turned out amazing for my first and only attempt at dyeing fabric. And I also am converting most of the colors to a dirty blonde with a burgundy and gold outfit because that's more me. And I think it will pop on the navy blue fabric. So here is where I'm at now with Stargazer. So there she is. And yeah, it's really dark. It's not washing out too much. But that's as far as I've gotten. I do have a few more beads to put on the top. I'm not sure if I'll do that this time or not, or just do some cross stitching. Guess we'll see what I'm in the mood for. Here's one of these other ones. This is another pack of buttons, wooden buttons from Joann's that I made myself. So yeah, it's a pretty one. I'll see how far I can get on her. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do cross stitches or beads. Sometimes I get in the mood to bead, and other times I'm just like, I just want to use thread. So we'll see what I feel like when I get to this, probably towards the end of the week, maybe Friday or something. And then my last project, another full coverage, another really big one, definitely qualifies for the extra large category because it's my, oh, you know what? I just realized this one seemed super familiar, and it's because I spun it the first week, so I do need to spin this one again. Let me pause the video and spin it again. That's really funny. Okay, so I had been thinking when I spun the flower garden, which is my largest project, and I was thinking, oh yeah, that's familiar, but I was thinking because of the July bingo. This is the one I had spun this week. And it didn't occur to me until I told you verbally that it's my largest whip, so it definitely qualifies for the extra large category. I said that before at the beginning of the month because it was the first extra large project that was spun in Arbitrary August. But because of my wheels, like I told you before, because the wheels weren't blacked out, it spun it again. So I respun, and this is what I got. So I'm excited about this one because this is this is the cover page. Let you know it's Donna Gelsinger. This is a Hade, but I do have a bigger printout that I like to look at better. And this is a toner save mode printout, so my colors are more saturated than this. I love how this is coming along. It feels like one of my smaller Heaven and Earth designs, but it's still qualified for the extra large category. So it's probably on the smaller end of that one. So here's my starting point. And this is also 2/1 half stitches on 28 count Dove Monaco, just like the Visit Endor one that we saw at the beginning. So that's where it's starting. I think it's super awesome. Obviously, like I said, the colors are more saturated than they are on that cover picture. She looks a lot more red. But the detail is amazing. So I think when it's all said and done, it'll look just fine. And because like this blue is much more saturated than the blue on the picture too. So I may do more in the sky. I may do a little more in her. I'm not sure. So we'll see. I'm glad I spun that one because I do like that one too. I like all of them. So I'll work on that this week also. Not the flower garden again. And then because I will be because I won't come back until Tuesday of next week, I spun already for Monday because there's an extra day in August. So I went ahead and spun an extra quote-unquote small project, and so this is what that one was. And so this is Dragon Ride by Teresa Wensler. This is another fan favorite. This is for my son and my other son, who, not the Endor son, the one that Diamond painted, the other dragon. This is for him. And let's see, I was planning already to work on this in September for his birthday, and I was planning to give it a whole week along with my birthday start. And I'll go into my September plans here in a minute if you care. But for two reasons, I decided to only work on it for part of the week in September because I spun it just now for the August 31st and because of the Bear Time stories that I started in July, which is also for him. And I really want to get a little bit more done on that one. That's this one. I decided I'll work on Dragon Ride for 4 days and then the Bear Time stories for 3, just to mix it up a little bit. That's at the end of September. So here is Dragon Ride now. Try to do it over here so you can kind of see before and after. So here is where I am now, and I can't honestly remember what I was working on last time. Probably some yellow. So we'll see. I'll spend a day on it, just Monday, and then I'll give it another 4 days at the end of September. So it should get some good progress here coming up. This is also 28 count, light blue, even weave. This is by MCG Textiles. Mostly 2/2, except for the man in the middle who is 1/1. So that will be last Arbitrary August pick. And I really liked spinning. Looks like my phone is almost out of storage, crazy enough. So I will need to wrap this up here soon. Hopefully it keeps filming. I was gonna tell you a little bit about September's plans. I'm already completely filled up all of the days in September with plans, which is kind of funny. So I want to work on all of my family pieces again for at least, I have them down for 1 to 3 days, except for my son with the dragon ride because it's his birthday in September. So I figured I'll give him a full week of love on his projects, and then a full week on my project. I will be starting Garden Prelude by Mirabilia. I'm also going to start this with Dawn, Frosty Exit. She's starting also. And we're going to start on the 7th, which is in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from today. And I'm planning on doing it on cotton, color and cotton Wedgwood. There's some of the beads that go with it. And I think that'll be really pretty. I don't have the silks, but from what I heard, the silks are in the flowers and any variegateds will do. So I'll probably just pull from my stash for those and use regular DMC for my stash for everything else. I'm hoping I don't get bored of it, spending a whole week on it, because I do tend to rotate more regularly than that. So if for some reason I get bored with it and I want to do something else during that week of my birthday, I'll pick another start that I'm just feeling because it's my birthday and you can do what you want. So potentially, if there's another project that's just calling to me really loud, I might switch partway through the week, but we'll see. The other thing is, Full Coverage Fanatics is having a weekend stitch along, a no count stitch along, the first weekend in September, the 4th through the 6th, called Confetti Conquistadors. So that's to work on a project, whichever full coverage you have that's got the most confetti. So that will, for me, will be a stitching shelf, because I have the max color version and it's still regular sized. So it's got a lot of confetti, this one. And in the top corner, I have a bunch of parked threads in a super confetti heavy area. So I'm gonna go ahead and tackle some of those during that challenge. And I'll show all of this like the week before things happen. So, and then there was one other thing that filled in my one remaining day that wasn't already obligated to family stitching or birthday stitching. And that was for the Full Coverage Fanatics Around the World Challenge. They're doing Norway this year, or this month. So I had to do my Norwegian ship under sail for the country Norway, because you just, you have to. So I'll be doing that for one day, possibly more if I feel like it. But at this point, oh, and I'm starting the autumn cross on the first day of autumn and working on that for a couple days. So yeah, I'm filled up already. So that'll be fun. And I'll show you everything, each week as it's coming up. But let's finish Arbitrary August, shall we? And enjoy what you're working on, and happy stitching. Bye.